AT&T Stadium, 10th season that the Cowboys have played here after moving over from Irving, Texas Stadium, which saw so many great games. A few of them have been played here as well. Steve Wilks is the new head coach of the Cardinals. Last year he was the defensive coordinator for Carolina under Ron Rivera. Very interesting man, interesting background. We'll get into it. He has been around, and he finally gets his opportunity at the age of 49. And Jason Garrett, who took over in the middle of the 2010 season. Wade Phillips gone halfway through that year. Finished the 2010 campaign and full-time in 2011. Phil Dawson, who is 43 years old, is going to kick off, and Jordan Lewis is back to receive for the Cowboys. So we're underway in Arlington. And Lewis comes out from a yard into the end zone and brings it out to the 27, and we have a penalty. Zeke Turner making the tackle on the play. Carl Cheffers is tonight's referee.
Holding during the return. Number 57, return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Damian Wilson. Backs and receivers now for the Cowboys. Rod Smith is the running back. Hearns and Williams are outside. Swaim and Jarwin are the two tight ends, so what they would call 12 personnel to start. Fleming, keep an eye on Williams. He is the rookie left guard. Looney, Edwards, and Collins. A lot to talk about with an offensive line. So we start with Cooper Rush at quarterback. Dak Prescott, of course, will be their guy on opening day, but he's not going to play tonight. And so Rush, who's the backup, starts with play action and a roll to the left and a pass that is incomplete to the 25-yard line. Swaim is the intended receiver. It is broken up. So Rush is a guy who was the backup last year, undrafted free agent, active for the final 11 games of last season, threw only 3 passes. It'll be Prescott, obviously, and then Rush, and then maybe Mike White. We're going to see him as well, a rookie picked in the 5th round. But there is Dak. And with the problems that they have up front at the moment, they're not going to risk either Prescott or Elliott playing tonight. So on second down, they give the ball off to Rod Smith, and he is bottled up as he tries to get outside. And we're going to tell you now on third down, there's an enhancement we have. We think you're going to like this. The green zone, we're going to call it. So we are going to paint, in effect, the area that the team has to go to get to the yellow line, the first down line. And there it is. So you can follow the progress. We know the yellow line is great. It's been around for a lot of years, but this will show you exactly how far he has to go at any point in the play.
So once again, the fans will know more than the players on the field.
And us, 3rd and 12, and that is caught by Rod Smith. And Smith is in the green zone trying to get to the yellow line and will come close but won't get there. He's out of bounds, and they'll force to punt as Buchanan makes the tackle.
Well, the most interesting part of it for me is seeing which color we finally settled on for the green zone. I think we took a look at about every different color there was, but that was pretty unique, and a chance to see just how close Smith came to picking up that first down.
Borrowed it from Baghdad. Christian Kirk, a rookie from Texas A&M, is back to receive, trying to win a job as a starting running back. And the kick, a fair catch called for at the 26-yard line after the flag down after the fair catch is called for. So we've had 2 penalties in the game, both on the kicks, one on the kickoff, one on the punt. Cheffers checks it out.
During the kick, holding, number 48, return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
All right, backs and receivers now for Arizona. They're going to start with 3 wide and 1 running back. Chase Edmonds is a rookie out of Ford, and Butler, Williams, and Kirk are the outside guys. Ricky Seals-Jones is the tight end, and the guys up front, Yapati's back. He was hurt last year. The big story is going to be Mason Cole, who's a rookie out of Michigan. A.Q. Shipley, their starting center, got hurt in training camp. Pugh comes over from the Giants, and Smith comes over from Cincinnati. So a revamped offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. Chase Edmonds is the running back. We will not see David Johnson tonight. He's played in the first 2 preseason games and looked very good. And they give it to the Fordham Ram, who gets bottled up at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Well, we've been watching Sam Bradford for a lot of years. He was the overall #1 pick in 2010 by the then St. Louis Rams. He's been around St. Louis, Philadelphia, last 2 years in Minnesota, though he was hurt most of last season. And then the Cardinals signed him. They signed Mike Glennon, and they drafted Josh Rosen. So all 3 quarterbacks from last season, including Carson Palmer, who retired, are gone. 3 new ones this year. 2nd and 10. Bradford gets it out in a hurry and hits J.J. Nelson, but he can't hold on. And it's incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Byron Jones with the coverage.
Well, one of the things, it's very difficult to get pressure on Sam Bradford because they're going to catch it and throw it. He is a very accurate quarterback, and he is also a guy that believes in getting that ball out of his hand quickly. So a team that'll be tough to pressure this year.
Green zone is in again on 3rd down and 10. Bradford, very accurate. Great on the short throws. Set a record for completion percentage 2 years ago in Minnesota, which was subsequently eclipsed by Drew Brees. 3rd and 10. Bradford stepping up, but unable to avoid a sack, and that's Randy Gregory, a big story unto himself. Off suspended, comes back, and comes in for the sack here.
How impressive is this? You want to get excited, Cowboys fans? Here you go. You've got the guy who finished 2nd on the right side, and DeMarcus Lawrence, and now Randy Gregory not only getting around the starting left tackle of the Arizona Cardinals and Humphreys, but a chip as well. That was some start for Dallas fans.
Andy Lee is in his 15th season. He's the punter. And a fair catch is called for, but there's contact in the 50-yard line. Lance Lenore was there. And who made the contact is the question.
Like Byron Jones, his own guy.
If his own guy did it, then Arizona has a chance to wind up with the ball. But was his own guy forced into him is the question, too.
I didn't think so, seeing it at first glance.
But they're going to give it to Arizona. So they'll contend that he was interfered with by his own guy. And the Cardinals will retain possession at midfield when we come back. Singing, dancing, getting your hair cut, the whole thing. And tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. It's about 95 degrees outside, so the roof is closed. A comfortable 72 inside. So they recover the ball at midfield, and now Sam Bradford, who figures to play quarter to a quarter and a half tonight. Shoots it out to the left side, and that will be about a 6-yard gain for Ricky Seals-Jones. And let's see exactly what took place on that punt.
Al, you know I often point out blame, but I'm not sure it is deserved here on this one. Byron Jones is going to go back. And that punt was so far to the right, there was really no way for him to anticipate that Lance Lenore was going over there. Just one of those things that occasionally will happen. Lenore obviously looking up into the ceiling and trying to make the catch. That was a tough one.
And Dennis Gardeck was there to recover it. So 2nd down and 4 from the Cowboy 45-yard line. Inside handoff. There goes Chase Edmonds. It'll be a 3rd down and 1. That Dallas defense, Chris talking about it at the very top. Charlton, Crawford, Woods, Lawrence had a breakout year last year. 14.5 sacks, tied for 2nd in the league. Jalen Smith is a great story. We'll get into that a little bit later. Wilson and Thomas outside. And in that secondary, Jones is the key guy. Awuzie is on the other side with Frazier and the speedy Heath, the safeties. Sky Cam right now on the line of scrimmage right there. You need 1 yard. 3rd and 1. Bring in a fullback and give it to him, and they'll pick up the 1st down. That's Derek Coleman, who has been around, played at UCLA. He's deaf, and we've talked about his story through the years when we've had him, but they brought him in. That's something that Bruce Arians, who left town, and Bruce retired. Good luck to Bruce at CBS. He never wanted a fullback, but Steve Wilkes comes in and brings in a fullback.
You get a little bit of a feeling that a lot of things are going to be different in Arizona. It is about running the football and stopping the run as far as Steve Wilkes is concerned.
From the 39-yard line, Bradford off the play fake, fires and throws a strike, but it is not held on to by Seals Jones. Had it in his grasp for a second, couldn't hold on. Heath is there for the coverage. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, I tell you, we have seen some good safety plays so far out of the Dallas Cowboys, and I know there's always that conversation going on about Earl Thomas, and we've got a player going down. Really well done that time by Kayvon Frazier.
So a Dallas Cowboy, have not identified him as yet. I think it is Glennon are the 3 QBs, and the new head coach Wilkes. The new offensive coordinator is Mike McCoy, 4 years as the head coach at San Diego, and then Sam Bradford, who is trying to get to the postseason for the first time in his career. Never played in a postseason game. A little toss here to the outside, and cutting it back upfield goes Chase Edmonds to the 36-yard line. So David Johnson obviously is going to be their key guy, but you take a look at this kid. Played his college football in New York City at Fordham, 5'9", 210. Scored a touchdown a couple of weeks ago in the preseason game against, I think, San Francisco. You lost sight of him. He just burrowed his way through.
It was an amazing run. It really was. But the thing that Steve Wilkes was so impressed with that young man about was his ability to pass protect. That keeps you in the game a lot longer than just about anything else.
And you saw David Johnson dislocated his wrist on opening day last year, and that killed him. The team. I mean, they wound up with a mark of 8-8, but they really missed him. Bradford fires. He was under pressure, and the pass is incomplete and well covered by Awuzie. 4th down.
Well, this young man right there, Chidobe Awuzie, may end up being one of the real stars in the National Football League. He has proven that when he's healthy, he can definitely play man-to-man coverage. On the other side, here's Jalen Smith working against the tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones. He's all over that. You will see the Cowboys playing a lot of man coverage this year, more than I can remember them ever playing.
20th year in the league. Dawson for a 55-yard attempt. Still has plenty of leg, but this one will drift to the left. No good. So Arizona bogs down. Cowboys get the ball. We played 6 minutes in Arlington. 0-0.
Take a look. Anything go wrong? No, absolutely perfect. Just like some tee shots I've seen over the years.
Recently?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there is Wilkes. Little body English. He's a really interesting character. We were talking to him last night. At one point, Steve Wilkes, between 1999 and 2006, 8 seasons, had 8 different jobs in 8 different cities.
Yeah, his first one was washing clothes and lining the field and painting the weight room.
Head coach at Savannah State University in Georgia. So now the Cowboys from the 45-yard line start with great field position. Rush falls down, is able to slip the ball out to Rod Smith. Gain of 1. That Cardinal defensive line, Jones led the league in sacks last season with 17. They're waiting for Marcus Golden to get healthy. He's on PUP right now. Should have him back. Linebackers are really good. Bynes is a veteran. Reddick was their #1 draft choice last year. Buchanan is a tough guy, and Taylor with Bethea now in the league for 13 years. Buda Baker is kind of their Swiss Army knife, and Patrick Peterson does nothing but go to the Pro Bowl. 7 years in the league, 7 trips to the Pro Bowl. On 2nd and 9, they flip it to the outside. Caught there by Blake Jarwin, trying to make the roster as a tight end. Patrick Peterson with a corner blitz that time to force it 3rd down.
Well, you're going to see Patrick Peterson coming right here. They're faking a blitz on this way, and then they brought the corner blitz off of this side. The one thing that the Carolina defense and Steve Wilkes was known for, they're going to bring a lot of pressure, not just with linebackers, but out of the secondary. There's one of the most dynamic athletes in the league. Pro Bowl every year he's been playing football.
Third down and 8. Rush this time under pressure and can't escape the grasp of Deion Buchanan. Deion Buchanan with the sack here. So Rush goes down again, and it's 4th down.
What a nice move here by Buchanan. You'll see Carolina back in the day with their inside linebackers rushing. Look at the move that he put on Rod Smith there to come up with a sack. This is the first time we've seen all the linebackers playing for the Arizona Cardinals, and what a difference it's making already.
Well, Wilkes was the linebacker coach before the defensive coordinator, which meant he had Kuechly and Thomas Davis. Not a bad pair to draw to. Fair catch called for this time at the 11-yard line by Christian Kirk, and that's where Arizona will begin this next drive. 7:04 to go in the quarter. In Arlington, 0-0 against a helmet in practice last week. He wanted to play tonight. We saw him yesterday. He said, yeah, I'm playing. And then Steve Wilkes walks into the room and said, no, he's not. So we have Mike Glennon, who comes in to play quarterback. Glennon's been around as a rookie. He started in Tampa, spent 3 years there. Then he was brought to Chicago, ostensibly as the starter last year, and they drafted Mitch Trubisky. And then he winds up in Arizona. So he takes over at the 11-yard line. 1st down. And the handoff goes to Chase Edmonds, who will see much of the action tonight for a gain of 5. And we go to Michelle.
Well, Al, we saw Kayvon Frazier, the safety, go down hard on his left shoulder. Watch this tape. He's going to fall hard there. And it is a left shoulder injury that has him questionable for the rest of this game. He's back in the locker room getting further evaluation. Keep in mind, the Cowboys are already without safety Xavier Woods. He's got a hamstring injury and may not be back in time for the season opener, Al.
Yeah, that is an issue, and they'll open up in 2 weeks at Carolina. So Tyree Robinson comes in at safety for Frazier. 2nd down and 6. And Edmonds, nice run here. He scoots out to the 28-yard line. Jeff Heath makes the tackle. 1st down, Arizona, gain of 13.
You'll see a lot of wide receivers coming in the block formation. This is something that you saw a lot with Larry Fitzgerald and Bruce Arians over the years, but they have really picked it up. And there's a couple of guys that are really good at it. Chad Williams being one, and that time Christian Kirk. So anytime you get wide receivers that can act as additional blockers, certainly helps your running game.
Bring the fullback in. You know, we're talking about Bruce Arians. One of my favorite stories when Bruce was the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh, and they win the Super Bowl, and there's a parade, and he's on the truck and everything, and most of the people are cheering, and guys are yelling at him, Bruce, get a fullback, get a fullback.
Still aren't happy out there.
Right.
I thought you were going to say no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah.
I mean, he really believed you should throw the ball deep at least 6 or 7 times every game. You had to take chances to get big plays. I think this Cardinal version under Steve Wilkes and Mike McCoy is going to be much more conservative than that.
2nd down and 9. Little flip. Edmonds makes the catch here, taken down about 4 yards short of the 1st down. Maybe more conservative, but boy, when you've got David Johnson, you can do a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. I'll tell you who else can do a lot of stuff. This guy right here on the edge. Randy Gregory, only saw him for about 9 or 10 plays last week, but DJ Humphries is having his hands full over there. And if you take him and a much improved Taco Charlton and pair them with DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side, all of a sudden this pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys is about as good as you're going to see.
3rd down and 5. 4.5 to go in the opening quarter. Blitz coming. Glennon gets it away, but the pass is not caught. Intended for Kirk. And Andy Lee comes in to punt as Wougier makes the play on defense.
You have to win here. Your back does a great job. Your line does a great job. They're bringing pressure. You got to win. As a wide receiver now, your quarterback has time and had the 1st down in their hands. Christian Kirk has played great so far in the preseason, but he missed that one.
Lee sends it skyward. Good deep kick. Lenore juggles it, loses it. Loose in the end zone. Who's going to get it? The Arizona Cardinals will, for a touchdown. Bouncing around, about 6 guys had a chance to come up with it, and the Cardinals recover for the TD.
Andy Lee just crushed that ball so far. Lenore had to go straight backwards. and the punt return team so far for the Dallas Cowboys is losing the game. Misses it. Good hustle on the part of the Arizona Cardinals, but my goodness, it's tough when the punt return team is the only reason that anything has happened in this game so far.
That's Trent Sherfield. He is a rookie from Vanderbilt, wide receiver by trade. So they lost it when Jones ran into Lenore on the fair catch. They lose it here. It winds up as a touchdown. And Dawson now for the extra point out of Lee's hole. So that was a 58-yard punt, but a TD for Arizona. Extra point is good, and the Cardinals take a 7-0 lead. There is Keith O'Quinn. He's the new special teams coach. He was here. He was on the staff. He was elevated. Rich Bisaccia left to go with his old buddy John Gruden out in Oakland. So O'Quinn takes over, but tonight he's not a very happy man.
You know, I understand what Lance Lenore was doing. As a punt returner, I used to do it too. You play shallow because it's easy to go back on the ball, but Lee hit that ball so far he couldn't catch up to it.
And that kick will sail into the end zone for a touchback. 99 seasons in the NFL. Team leader in catches for 11 or more seasons. Steve Largent did it for a dozen years. 76 to 87 in Seattle. Hines Ward, our old buddy, 99 through 2009, and 11 straight years for Larry Fitzgerald. 109 catches last season. And Larry putting his name into the record book. It's already there and climbing up. I think only Jerry Rice is going to be ahead of him in most of the major categories by the time it's all said and done.
Catches and yards maybe this year.
From the 25-yard line, the little trickery here. And it's Chris Anderson who comes back to the line of scrimmage, and we go to Michelle.
And I am with Larry Fitzgerald, and I'd be remiss if we didn't start with a question about a friend you lost in John McCain, and you grew close to him. What do you think you'll remember most about the Senator?
Well, this is generosity, just his beliefs and ideals, things that he stood for. You know, I'm at a loss for words for, you know, what he's done for this great state of Arizona, our nation, and internationally. Just his heart, his compassion, his sacrifice as a POW, and just the legion of people he's helped along the way. He will be remembered forever.
Well, Michelle, there is Patrick Peterson. Yep, Patrick Peterson, you just saw it, picks it off and takes it in for a touchdown.
I asked the question, was Patrick Peterson going to be upset playing all this zone defense? The answer is no. He gets to stare at the quarterback and do things like that, because Patrick Peterson typically is running with his back to the quarterback so he doesn't see it. But if he gets his hands on the football, Al, we have seen it many, many times, nobody's catching him.
Intended for Tavon Austin. That is a 30-yard return. And it puts him up by 2 touchdowns as Phil Dawson tries to tack on the extra point, and he does. So 3.5 to go in the quarter, 14-0, and let's go back to Michelle and Larry.
Well, Larry just saw that pickoff and returned for a touchdown. And what did you say?
I said special team just scored, the defense just scored, and we still haven't done anything offensively.
Well, they need you in there for sure. But, you know, you came back for your 15th year in spite of the fact that there was a major coaching changes at the quarterback position. Why'd you come back?
I don't know if I've been this excited for any season in my career. You know, I lost Carson and lose Coach Arians, and you know, this is so new to me. First time I had to really get into a playbook and study and learn new teammates and new coaching staffs. Everything's been new to me, and it's been really exciting. It's kind of reinvigorating to, you know, kind of put your stamp on something brand new. It's a great challenge for me to be able to, you know, gain the trust of a new staff, and you know, I'm up for it.
Well, speaking of the coaching staff, you've got a rookie head coach in Wilkes. What kind of impression has he made on you so far?
He's special. He's so intelligent. He's so insightful. Really always has the pulse of the team. I mean, for somebody who hasn't had any head coaching experience, I mean, you would think he's done it before. I mean, he's compassionate. He's stern when he needs to be. I mean, he embodies everything that you want in a head coach, and it's been a joy to play for him.
Well, another season for you in your globe-trotting ways. You get around. Where did you go this offseason?
I bounced around. I went to the Winter Olympics in Seoul, and I went to Iceland. I went to Sweden. I went to a couple other places in Europe and Africa. I moved around a little bit.
You did some dog sledding in Sweden. What was that like?
It was cold. It was cold. I couldn't feel my fingers or my toes by the time I got back, but it was something that I'd never done before, and it was a great experience.
A little golfing in Scotland. Where'd you play?
Played at St. Andrews, and I was really happy. I know you guys just saw Patrick Peterson get that pick. Well, I whipped him real good at St. Andrews, and then took him over to Kings Martin and beat him silly over there too. So it was great times. Yeah.
See, you can never take that stuff away from you.
No, never.
All right.
You know who I could really beat always too? Al Michaels too. You should have saw him at Tahoe. I saw him hit a couple spectators, hit the cart girl. It was rough out there watching it.
Hit the cart girl.
Yeah, he hit a couple people. I'm just messing with you, Mr. Michaels.
Hey, Larry, I got to say something. Michelle, just tell them, wait a second. People want to know what that real handicap was.
People want to know what the real handicap was.
At Pebble Beach
Pebble
when he won the Pro-Am.
I know where that's coming from. I know Mr. Michael said that. I was legitimately, I was a 10-11 handicap. You know, during the season, I don't get a chance to play very much. You know, in the off season, I'll get down to a 4 or 5 handicap. But I haven't touched the club in a couple weeks now. So, like, if you saw my short game right now, it would be terrible.
Yeah, right. Okay, Larry. Hey, thanks for the time.
Always good to see you.
All right, likewise. Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. And meanwhile, on that return, we've got an injured Cardinal, and to the extent that they're going to have to bring the card out here, let's see if we can pick this up.
There's the double team, and unfortunately, there's the injury. Because it didn't involve one of the guys from behind, they are allowed that double team, and unfortunately we've seen all too many kickoff returns result with somebody going off the field. All the new rules, they have tried and tried to make it better.
Well, it's DJ Foster, who is a fullback and special teams player, 3rd year out of Arizona State, and we will get a report as they take him back to the locker room.
You know, Al, one of the interesting things is because they make that front line stand so close, and the back line, when they all turn and run together. So when they had the running start, they would run past the first 5 guys. There weren't as many collisions. I don't know that rule has helped having them stand 1 yard off that line.
To be determined. Over the right side, Rod Smith, a flag comes in. Haven't had very many tonight. Always a good thing. Carl Cheffers will let us know momentarily.
Holding. Number 65, defense. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. Automatic. First down.
That's Pisoni Tassini. Well, the offensive line, much to talk about there. Travis Frederick and Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. Especially with Frederick, we'll get into that story because that's made headlines here in Dallas and throughout the country this week. So that's part of the reason. It's a good part of the reason why Dak Prescott's not playing tonight and Zeke Elliott won't play in preseason period. Ball handed off to Smith, and he's going to fight his way up to the 41-yard line. An autoimmune disease inflicted upon Frederick. There he is, Travis Frederick. He says that they've caught it early enough, and hopefully that is the case. He has played every snap since he was drafted in 2013. You have to wonder about, what it's going to be like as we move ahead. But there he is out here tonight. Says he feels a heck of a lot better. And the Cowboys are going to have to make a decision about him as to whether they put him on IR or not. I don't think they will.
Well, Jerry Jones has already come out and said, I have one concern, and that is the health of that young man. Not only is he a superstar player, but just a great guy.
Joe Looney, who's taking his place, just threw a nice block to spring Rod Smith. So Looney is the guy who has to take over until Frederick comes back. That's a first down.
There you go. Joe Looney at the center position. And he is going to pull out and around to the right-hand side, set up and measure. He looked a little bit like Travis Frederick or Zach Martin pulling out around there. So that is very much a part of the Dallas Cowboys offense. Those athletic offensive linemen, and Joe Looney just proved he could do it too.
Under 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Cardinals on top 14-0. And a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown. Smith again. His brother Jalen is the linebacker. Talk about him as we move forward. That'll make it 2nd down and long.
Yeah, you're seeing a really aggressive approach here on the defensive side as you take a look at Dak Prescott there. But watch how many people, their 2 safeties right up here with the linebackers. I'll tell you what, this Arizona defense is not going to let anybody run the football. They got a little embarrassed last week with all the runs that were happening. But now with Deone Buchanan back in the lineup and Josh Bynes, this team looks completely different. It's completely different with Cooper Rush in there, too.
Final minute of the quarter as Rush throws a little low, but Smith makes the catch and gets the 1st down before he is tossed out of bounds. Gain of 13 yards.
Going to have a little chip on the outside. There's Jeff Swaim over there going to help on Chandler Jones, who was the leading sacker in the NFL a season ago with 17 sacks. And another good block out front there on that one by an offensive lineman. So far, the Dallas Cowboys at least haven't had to change their offense any with this offensive line in there.
Olawale is the fullback, and he tries to lead the way but can't pave the way for Smith. He gets to the 40-yard line, and that should take us to the 2nd quarter. And that is the end of the 1st quarter in Arlington, Texas, with the score Arizona 14, Dallas nothing. NBC Sunday Night Football back after these messages. Even there is Connor Williams, 2nd-round pick, and Jason Garrett said he is going to be my left guard. Said it from day 1, and here he is, number 52, local kid. Played his college ball at the University of Texas and grew up in this area, the Metroplex.
Good left tackle at Texas too, now playing guard.
We're going to watch from Skycam this series as the pass goes to Smith. He tries to hurdle, loses the ball, and the Cardinals come up with it. Tough to hurdle Patrick Peterson, so another turnover here as the Arizona Cardinals. Well, let's just see what they're going to call this now. Did they call? Take a look again. Are they going to call him down? Well, he's not down. No way. No way.
Patrick Peterson has taken over the game. Not many times you see a cornerback just take over.
Yeah, that's Josh Bynes, and of course the challenge flag is going to come out. So they ruled him down, and he was not down, and the flag comes out from Coach Steve Wilks. And unless we're crazy, Arizona's going to wind up with the football.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field of the runner being down by contact with control of the ball. We'll review the play.
Then again, we could be very crazy, but you know, I don't think in this particular instance. Do you?
There's a lot of cities who would put me in that category. This is not close. But it is interesting that, you know, a guy like Patrick Peterson has really proven himself as a man coverage guy, right? And he takes on all the best receivers all over the National Football League, and he does a great job week after week. Jason Garrett knows what's going on here. And yet here he is now being asked to play in this zone coverage kind of a look. And it's really fantastic because now you're adding a player like Patrick Peterson who's not chasing a receiver down the field. He's up making plays like that are turning the game around.
Well, he has to love it, as you said before, because they normally throw away from him. So he gets, I don't know what to say, he gets bored. Richard Sherman once said he was getting bored because he was so good they would never throw his way. And Peterson is in that same category.
No question about it. Well, you look at him and get the feeling he could play just about any position he wanted to. He running back, wide receiver, safety, he could do it all. I got to think he's done enough to prove that he should make the team at this point.
He might. Carl Cheffers to tell us what we already know.
After review, the ball was out of the player's control prior to him being down. It is recovered by the defense. It will be their ball, 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Please set the game clock to 14:54.
So the Cowboys in the first 15 minutes and 11 seconds have turned the ball over 4 times.
It's amazing when you're talking about the Arizona Cardinals now. I think they have 3 tonight, 3 and then 4 in the last game and 4 in the first game. And so you have a guy in Steve Wilkes that grew up under Lovie Smith, and remember how good they were at taking the football away, and that is a huge part of what the Cardinals are going to be about this season, and we've seen it every game.
And there it is. The ball now at the 37-yard line is Chase Edmonds. He's the running back, again shooting it from Skycam to the outside and going nowhere because Moreeeee was there to bottle up Christian Kirk before he could get untracked. He's second down and 11.
Well, you can't get a whole lot better than what we're seeing out of these young men here, but this Chidobe Awuzie he sees everything out there. We had a chance to visit with him, a very bright young man, and you can tell that he just has his sights set. There's been some pretty good corners put on that Dallas Cowboys uniform, and that one may be the next one.
You got him, you got Byron Jones on the other side. They're well fortified at that spot. Play clock is at 1. They just do get it off. Evans to the outside. He won't go anywhere. That's Tyrone Crawford, his 7th year out of Boise State. Who makes the stop?
Well, one of the great things about Tyrone Crawford is because now they have Randy Gregory and Taco Charlton, they can put him back inside to the 3 technique position here. You'll see him loop inside, but has enough athleticism to then get back out and make that play. So now you put Lawrence outside, you put Randy Gregory, Taco Charlton, and somebody that athletic inside. It's a tough team.
And if they can get David Irving off suspension, he'll have to sit out the first 4 games. That's another star. 3rd and 13. You saw the movement of the
first
right
charge
guard on the
timeout, Arizona.
right side, but Arizona had taken a timeout, and we go to Michelle.
Well, we saw Cardinals running back DJ Foster get carted off the field a bit ago. He went back for x-rays, putting very little weight on his left leg, and I'm told it is a knee injury, and he will not return tonight, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. You know, Chris Richard is the defensive back coach, pass game coordinator. He was, for many years, with Seattle, and before that he was with Pete Carroll at USC. Very well-respected assistant coach. Kind of surprising and surprised people around the league that he was let go by the Seahawks and picked up immediately by Jason Garrett to coach the defensive backs.
Well, you see a little bit of it. We've got some zone coverage coming on the outside.
3rd and 13. Little juggle here. Joe Green zone and gets popped right there. As that Dallas defense, that's Joe Thomas, former Packer. Big game for him in the preseason opener against San Francisco. It takes him to the ground.
Here's the headline, though. Watch Randy Gregory come off the edge again. There was a chip again, and there was a screen that way, but they just cannot handle him. I mean, I can't tell you how frightening this has to be for teams in the NFC East right now to know that they've got somebody like Lawrence on one side and Gregory looking like that on the other.
Lee's kick, fair caught by Lenore, this time at the 11-yard line. The crowd with a Bronx cheer. They didn't turn it over, but there is a flag. A late flag comes in. Fair catch was made at the 11-yard line.
Personal foul, number 49 of the receiving team for unnecessarily contacting an opponent. The foul will be measured half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Olawale, the fullback. Back after this.
The thing that impressed me was how thoughtful he was about the whole thing. He understood, you know, his family grew up in the military. He moved around all over the place. He has a baby daughter now that he's trying not to let down. Teammates he's trying not to let down. He's trying to find a way just to be happy with himself at this point in his life.
This is Cooper Rush, and finally he gets out of the shadow of his own end zone as Jeff Swaim makes the catch. Very happy as Randy to have his father here tonight, Ken Gregory. That family moved around a lot. Parents in the military, but boy, if they can keep him healthy and off the suspended list, as you say before, that is some defense.
Yeah, and people keep telling me around here that even the media is cheering for him. And after we had the conversation with him, I completely understand it. He is trying. He is trying to change his life and do everything he can to do that.
Here is Mo Scarborough. He's the 7th round draft choice running back. Played at Alabama. He was still on the board, and Jason Garrett was saying that Nick Saban said, take this guy. Just take him. You're going to like him.
Out of IMG Academy down in Bradenton. And it's a guy, I tell you what, I remember seeing pictures of him in high school. You go, oh my goodness, I wouldn't want my son out there trying to tackle him. He was a bona fide stud. He still runs a little high. He's a tall guy, but he was the 2nd leading receiver at Alabama. Only had 17, but he was the 2nd leading receiver.
Listed at 6'2" and about 228. Cannot penetrate the left side of the line to Josh Bynes making the tackle there. That will set up a 3rd down and about 5.
Yeah, and you could see Scarborough running a little high on that one. You know, there comes a point when you're 230 plus pounds, just dip that shoulder down. You know, the tackler, he's going to try and get lower than you are. Don't let him come in there and hit you in the soft spot. You know, everything on your front side hurts, Al, your stomach. And, you know, you don't want to get hit there. Get that shoulder down there.
Max 20, all right. 380, he's at
Rush too deep, intended for Cole Beasley. Had a great year 2 years ago, off year last year. I mean, when you look at the Cowboys and their receivers, who is #1?
Well, it may be this guy. And Cole Beasley with a great double move against Jamar Taylor, who is the other corner they made a trade from Cleveland with. And for Cooper Rush, that was 7 points off the board for the Dallas Cowboys. So many times those double moves, Al, the timing is hard to time up because you're used to those guys going full speed, but when they hesitate, they can't get to full speed.
Chris Jones, short kick, fair caught, 35-yard line by Christian Kirk. 10:23 to the half. It's 14-0 Cards. Michigan. Zach Martin, the Golden Domer, will be looking on with some interest next weekend.
Might bet a taco on that one.
Yeah. A couple. Chase Edmonds, gain of 1. Here's Michelle.
Well, I'm with Dak Prescott, who told us that last season was the toughest you've ever had at any level of playing football. So what did you take away from all that adversity?
Yeah, don't try to do too much. Simple as that. Just play the game that I like to play. Take what the defense gives me. Just stay within the scheme. And it's been a lot easier. It's been a lot of fun in this training camp.
Well, some of that fun might be coming because you're now clearly the leader of this team. Jason Witten is gone. He handed the reins over to you. How are you developing your leadership style?
Yeah, just being more vocal. Like I always say, I felt like I've been a good leader, and I've always been a leader at every level. But as you said, with a guy like Jason Witten leaving such a void as a leadership, I've had to step up and be more of a leader on the field, off the field, talking guys in the route, making sure they know the plays and everything we're doing, and it's been fun.
Well, he leaves a void also in the passing game, as does the absence of Dez, who's no longer here, Dez Bryant. So where are the big plays in the passing game going to come?
Yeah, they're going to come. We've got a lot of guys, a lot of speed, and a lot of guys that do a lot of different things on this team and at the receiver position. So it's about just taking what the defense gives us, just getting that ball to some of these fast guys and some of these athletic guys and letting them go.
Travis Frederick, your normal center, we talked about him being out indefinitely, and so Joe Looney is stepping in. How's that adjustment coming along? Yeah,
adjustment's been easy. Joe was the center for me in the second team reps when I came in as a rookie. So me and Joe have a background that goes way back to then. So we take snaps, obviously practicing and preparing for a situation like we have on our hands. So Joe's a guy that knows what he's doing, and it's been easy.
Well, we'll see you again in a couple of weeks on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, thank you. See you then.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, we'll see you in week 2 on Sunday Night Football when the Giants come in here. On 2nd down and 11, Edmonds had that big run, and he is the workhorse tonight to the 31-yard line. He's now carried the ball 11 times. And let's go back to that run of 28 yards.
Yeah, we have to go down to Michelle more often because every time we do, a big play happens. Here you're just going to see walled off here on the inside. Then the contain tries to come around the edge, but I'll tell you what, this Chase Edmonds is really showing something. 577 yards last year at Fordham in 7 games, but he had over 1,600 yards rushing in each of the previous 3 years, and he is starting to flash and dance out here tonight.
3rd down and 8, and you got action up front. Looks like offside against the defense.
Neutral zone infraction, number 97, defense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And that is Taco Charlton. It's going to turn a 3rd down and 8 into a 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, I thought Taco Charlton looked about as good as he has played a week ago, and Randy Gregory may unseat him anyway. I mean, in a perfect world, you get Taco Charlton and Randy Gregory sort of splitting time on one side, and maybe in a 3-man rotation with DeMarcus Lawrence. Pretty talented guys.
Listen, gotcha, let's go.
And the pass is caught at the 25-yard line, but on 3rd and 3, they only get 1. Jordan Lewis makes the tackle on Christian Kirk, and then we'll bring out the field goal group.
Really nice job that time by Jordan Lewis, who's in a battle right now with over that slot cornerback position with Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown has embraced the technique brought over here by Chris Richard. Maybe a little bit more, may have a slight lead, but plays like that shifted back in his favor.
42-yard attempt for the 43-year-old Dawson, who's just a baby next to Adam Vinatieri, who's 45. Kick is good. 6:48 to go in the half. 17-0 Arizona. From Thursday night right here on NBC, Falcons against the champion Eagles. Dawson to kick off. Darius Jackson, number 44, back there for the Dallas Cowboys. And from a yard into the end zone, Jackson trying to find a crease. Brings it back to the 26-yard line. Cowboys history, Michelle talking about where the big plays coming from. Jason Witten, tremendous numbers, clearly going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, little doubt about that. Good luck to Jason at ESPN. Des Bryant, 73 touchdowns. That is a Cowboys record. The only other team to lose 2 guys with those numbers, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper, the 93 Dolphins, the old Marx brothers. Went out the next year. So Witten gone, Bryant gone. And who's going to make the big plays is Michelle just asked Dan. Anyway, you got Rush going back to pass, going deep downfield, and that's incomplete. Intended for Michael Gallup, good-looking rookie. Patrick Peterson covering on the play.
I love it when the players answer your questions. This is the guy. This is Michael Gallup, and he has been the deep threat so far, and he's getting a chance to prove it here against Patrick Peterson. I thought he jumped just a tad early, but there is something about Michael Gallup. He got more deep targets than just about anybody in college football a season ago with a good team around him. So you could tell how much confidence the quarterback had. Sometimes guys aren't that deadly fast, but they're still deep threats because they know what they're doing out.
3rd-round pick out of Colorado State. You know, everybody's saying that it's going to be about Prescott, and you know you've got Elliott, and he was suspended last year. That really hurt. Yeah. And if they stay healthy, I'm beginning to think the Cowboys' success is more contingent on the defense. That defense could be very tough.
We talked about it a little bit in the opening on camera. The other thing is we got a chance to watch practice the other day. Ezekiel Elliott looked awesome. I mean, looked awesome. And I know that maybe we're not supposed to talk about all that, but that was an open practice, so I feel okay about it. And he was flying around the field out there. And I think he'll be much more involved in the passing game this year than he has been in the past. That's what you loved about him coming out of Ohio State, was the fact that he could block, he could run great, but he was also a tremendous receiver. And of course, the suspension last year took away a lot of that.
That was the cloud that hung over the team all year. Remember, was he going to be suspended at the beginning of the year? And he kept appealing and he kept winning that. And then finally, about halfway through the season, out he went, and then Tyron Smith went out the left tackle as well, and that was a killer.
Yeah, and Tyron Smith had a lot to do with the fact that Dak Prescott's numbers came down as well, because the protection really fell apart without him.
Here's Kirk back to field the kick, which he does at the 16. And he runs across the field to no avail. Flag comes in at the end. Joe Thomas downfield to make the tackle.
They're going to call a horse collar on this one.
Almost all the penalties tonight in the kicking game. All but a couple. And Carl Cheffers figuring out where the ball is going to be spotted next.
I don't think that was a horse collar by any means. He went right after the football.
During the return, personal foul, blindside block, number 18, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Greg Little trying to win a job as there it was, 18.
Oh, good call.
As a wide receiver, yeah, blindside.
Blindside and to the helmet.
Yeah, Little's a guy who's been out of the league for a while, and sent him a tape, sent Arizona a tape and said, hey, wait, give me another chance. Looked great. Came up with Cleveland a few years ago, and trying to win a spot as a receiver. In fact, here's the video that he sent to him. This guy has a 9-pack. I'm telling you. Check this out.
It's pretty good, doesn't he?
I'd say he's in shape. Meanwhile, the new running back is going to be T.J. Logan, and the pass is going to be caught up at the 19-yard line, and that's Bryce Butler, the ex-Cowboy, making the catch first down. And we go to Michelle.
We're talking about Greg Little. Before the 2017 OTAs, the Cardinals asked him if he could try out, but he hadn't worked out in a year, and he told them, I'm not in shape. And he hung up the phone and cried. He spent the next year working out all day, every day, doing everything from cycling to yoga. So when he got the call in April, this time he was ready, went to rookie camp, went to veteran mini camp, and here he is.
That's a good story. We'll see if he winds up playing with him in 2 weeks against the Washington Redskins in Arizona. Logan, second-year guy from North Carolina. There's a flag down. Talking about Little, we got a hold here. That play was a 4-yard gain. Which would have made it 2nd and 6. Yes, Carl?
Holding, number 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Mike Yapati, the good left guard. We talked about that, well, I called it a 9-pack. Schwarzenegger never looked like that.
If you've ever seen Al Michaels around the pool in Maui, that's
it's not him. Man. Well, you know, the guy's in great shape. Can he make the team?
You know, he was a good player. He was drafted high, drafted in the 2nd round, but he's been out of football the last 2 years, no snaps the last 3 years. But he did lead the Browns in catches in each of his first 2 seasons, so it's not out of the question whatsoever.
Larry Fitzgerald, he will not be playing tonight. He's ready for the start of the season.
Boy, there has not been much offense here, is there? You look at that score and you go, okay, Arizona must be going up and down the field, but there's a fumbled punt they recovered, and then a defensive touchdown by Patrick Peterson, and these 2 defenses have just been dominant.
And Arizona has 85 yards and Dallas 69 from Skycam. Catch is made over the middle, and T.J. Logan gets knocked down by Justin March Lillard. 2nd down.
Justin March Lillard, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs. I tell you, the linebackers for the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, that may have been the most improved part of this football team. It seemed every year, didn't it? If Sean Lee got hurt, they were sort of fishing around. What was Rod Marinelli going to do, and how are they going to fill the gap? Then they drafted Leighton Vander Esch this year. They came up with Joe Thomas, Justin March Lillard. This is a deep linebacking core right now.
2nd down and 11. Glennon throws and trying to escape, and that is Greg Little, who gets it out to about the 23-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 6. And, you know, as I mentioned before, they get David Irving back. He's a guy who gets a sack a game.
Yeah, that was a good veteran route that time by Little. It was a zone defense, so he just sort of settled down in there. If he came flying in there, he would have had his head taken off by Damian Wilson, just a guy that knows exactly what he's doing. And this is the signature. Look at the defensive lineman running back down the field. They made 3 plays in the game last week with defensive linemen chasing guys as far as 40 yards down the field. Rod Marinelli will accept nothing less.
Arizona takes a timeout.
Well, here's the highlight so far if you're a Cowboy fan, and it has been the play of Randy Gregory. That is the starting offensive line out there for the Arizona Cardinals, and yet he has just been relentless, snap after snap. You wonder what kind of shape he could possibly be in. He hasn't been there that long. They give him about 3 weeks to get in shape once he got here, and I tell you, now I thought he was going to be a top 5 pick the year he was drafted. I didn't know all the off-the-field issues that he had, but physically and talent-wise, he was a top 5 player in that draft.
Yeah, he thought he should have been, but he understood what happened. Carry that baggage with you. His dad right there. 3rd down and 6 here. 2.5 to go in the half. Blitz coming. Lennon hangs in there, throws underneath, and no good. Intended for Bryce Butler. 4th down. You know, it's funny, Chris, they always talk about the 3rd game, the next to last game is the dress rehearsal. That's kind of changing right now. You know, the preseason is always a balance between preparation and protection. So, you know, you got it may be a dress rehearsal, but the understudies are wearing most of the costumes.
And I've heard a lot of guys now talk about teams that they may use the 2nd game as the dress rehearsal now because somebody gets hurt. They want that extra week to get them back healthy.
Lee's kick goes out of bounds near midfield. So they'll spot it with 2:24. And Steve Wilkes mentioned before, 8 jobs, 8 cities in 8 seasons. He had a running joke with his wife. He used to go to the coaches convention after each season. She would say, hey, just call, let me know where we're moving. She has to write a book. She really has to.
That was fun. But, you know, he was also a guy that did something I never heard of before. And that was the way he would start practice. A lot of times he would come out and they'd get finished with calisthenics. See if they're going to make a call. Get finished with calisthenics. And he'd put them, the best 2 players on offense against each other and best 2 players on defense. And here we go, one-on-one action. There would be just this incredible action to start practice. He wanted that intensity. He wanted them used to sudden change, the unexpected, and they have delivered.
Pass caught going out of bounds is Blake Jarwin, and a penalty.
Pass interference, number 83, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
It's Terrence Williams.
Here we go. Well, you know, one of the problems for Terrence Williams right there is he looked like he was picking because of the fact he didn't do anything after he made contact. You have to be a bit of a thespian out there, Al. You know all about this living in L.A. You have to continue the route afterwards. You can't just go out and bump somebody and stop because then the official, it looks like a pick.
You really know what thespian means. 1st and 20, caught by Darius Jackson. And he's thrown out of bounds in front of the Dallas bench. And we come to the 2-minute warning. In Arlington, 17-0, Arizona.
I tell you, I think the new helmet rule has already had an impact on the field. I've been watching a lot of preseason games trying to get a feel for that. And you can see guys really trying to get that head out of there. They are making an effort because 15 yards, you just can't survive that very often in the NFL.
False start, number 17, offense.
Alan Hurns with a false start.
second down.
Well, clearly, I mean, the coaches know about it. They have to be coaching the guys. You know, 15 yards, that's a huge penalty, especially at a time in the game when it could mean the difference in the game.
Yeah, I think after the meeting they had this week in midweek, I do think they've toned it down a little bit. They've taken out some of the inadvertent contact. So I don't think it'll be quite as big as maybe people thought it was going to be after the first 2 weeks.
Here's Beasley. You know, it comes back to intent. You know, how do you mind read if you're an official as well?
Well, and as it was first presented to us, I thought it was a pretty good idea that if there was a little element of time, in other words, you could see either the running back or the receiver or the tackler sort of measuring up and having time to make a decision about what they were going to do, that's a foul. And I totally understand it. What was happening, though, was players need to get their, or have been trained to get their helmet underneath the other guy, whether you're the runner or the tackler, and sometimes that helmet-to-helmet is just going to happen.
And Beasley seeing his first preseason action, and Cole over the middle makes the catch, takes it to the 40. Buda Baker makes the tackle as we tick down to a minute.
Yeah, like this whole Cowboys offense a season ago, Cole Beasley about half the production he had from 2 years ago when he led them in just about everything.
Cowboys with all of their timeouts. They've got Terrence Williams in his 6th season with the Cowboys. And a penalty.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 59, defense. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. Automatic. First down.
And then that's Montarius Dora.
Dora came out and had a huge first game. He had sacks, he had forced fumbles. He was trying to make an impression, and unfortunately right there, he hit the quarterback's head, and that will never be allowed in this league. He has made an impression, become a little bit of a fan favorite as well.
Penalty takes the ball to the 20-yard line. Darius Jackson is in the backfield. Cooper Rush, second of the Cowboys, has that deflected, and it's incomplete. You know, you look at Cooper Rush and you think about Tony Romo in the sense that Tony was a free agent like Rush, and you know, he kind of bided his time. Not that he's going to take over for Dak Prescott that quickly, but you know, who knows down the line with a guy like this.
Yeah, he was his degree in actuarial science, right? And ended up a guy that certainly smart enough to get it done. Tony was a smart guy. Who knows?
From behind the defense, it presents Skycam, and the catch is made inside the 20-yard line by Darius Jackson, tackled there by Bynes. Gain of 5 yards, and the Cowboys are going to take a timeout.
I always like to watch plays from the defense. This is what they call the old double-A blitz. You saw a lot of that in Carolina. Sometimes they do blitz, and then it forces these linemen to come down and block down. But then what they like to do on defense a lot of times is drop those two guys out of there, force the guards and the tackles to step down or slide the protection across that, and then these outside guys have an opportunity to work one-on-one, which is exactly what happened there. Earlier we saw Connor Williams, number 52 right there, had to pick up a stunt against Chandler Jones, and this time he had it, they worked it just the opposite way.
So it's 3rd down and 5 now. 7th play of the drive coming. And to the end zone, and that is picked off Buda Baker. And Baker's going to come out of the end zone and still on his feet with a good run back to the 20-yard line. So the Cardinals with another takeaway, 5 of them in the game.
Well, once again, working into those zone defenses, and you get athletes out there like Buda Baker. Now, he is effectively a safety in many ways, but he is also a slot cornerback on the field, and that was brilliant. He dropped in behind Michael Gallup and then adjusted back in front. And I tell you what, I could not be more impressed with Al Holcomb and Steve Wilkes' defense. They have been brilliant out here tonight.
Ty Matthew used to play that role that Baker plays now. Honey Badger, Baker, with the pick here. So now Arizona with one timeout. What are they going to do from the 20-yard line? 27 seconds. Trying to pick up a little bit more. Logan flagged down. Coming in bunches now. Gain of 13 for the moment.
I wonder if Steve Wilkes is starting to think, can we save a few of these turnovers for the regular season?
Holding. Number 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Second foul against Yapati.
Here we go. Showtime. Let's get that pick. There you go. A pick deserves a pick.
Larry Foote, remember him as a linebacker with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a lot of years on the coaching staff. One of the retainees. He was on Bruce Arians' staff. 1st and 17 after the foul. And they give it to TJ Logan up to the 20-yard line and will let the clock run down in a first half dominated by turnovers. Dallas gained 111 yards, Arizona only 105. But with 5 takeaways, the score at halftime is 17-0. Arizona gets the second half kickoff coming up next. 13 this season in 2.5 games. Patrick Peterson, all-pro form in preseason, interception return for a TD, forced fumble. Chase Edmonds, the rookie from Fordham, he's doing the heavy lifting tonight with 55 rushing yards, 8 receiving yards. David Johnson not playing tonight. Meanwhile, Randy Gregory has made his presence felt with 1 sack and a couple of tackles. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. This is our final preseason telecast. Next time we talk to you guys and gals, a week from Thursday night, Philadelphia. It'll be crazy. Eagles unveiling their championship banner, and then the game starts against the Atlanta Falcons right here on NBC. Brett Maher will kick it to TJ Logan with the second half underway. Logan with a flag down. We've got a flag on just about every kicking play tonight. Carl Cheffers will inform us momentarily.
I think you see a lot of returns in preseason because coaches want to see how the players react, right? They're judging guys out there, so they don't want to kick it out of the back of the end zone, but it'll be a lot more of that come regular
Illegal
season.
Formation, kicking team, players were not on the 34-yard line. 5-yard penalty was added to the end of the play, first down.
Well, that's the new rule. You can't get a running start anymore.
So if you're behind, there we go. There's one right there, right?
Yep. Everybody else, I think, has the foot on the line, so they call that one very closely. But that's part of the new rules that are enforced now on the kickoff. No more running start. So Mike Glennon at quarterback. We saw Sam Bradford for a couple of series tonight, and the ball is handed off over the right side to TJ Logan. And we go to Michelle.
Well, I talked to Jason Garrett at halftime. He is really happy with his defense, and specifically I asked him about Randy Gregory, and he said he's been performing well all of camp, and he just keeps building on every good performance. He's a good player who can rush the passer. As far as Steve Wilkes, like any defensive coach, very happy with the takeaways from his defense, but he wants to see his offense move the ball, and here's their chance, Al.
We'll take a look at Glennon. Of course, we saw Bradford. We know Bradford's going to be the opening day quarterback. Logan over the right side, and he squirts forward and does pick up that first down up at the 41-yard line. Again, if you joined us late, Josh Rosen, their #1 draft choice, 10th overall pick. He wanted to play tonight, banged his thumb against the helmet of a player in practice the other day, and Steve Wilkes said, no, we're just going to sit him down tonight.
I had no idea that he was at one time at age 12 the #1 player in Southern California in tennis. Played against and beat some guys that are playing at Wimbledon right now.
Also a good lacrosse player. What an arm he has. Meanwhile, what a run this is for TJ Logan. chasing him down the sideline, and Logan is going to go all the way for a touchdown. That's 59 yards as he scampers down the right side. So 3 plays they run, they go 70 yards and extend their advantage.
Well, and you're not going to catch the speedster. You get a trap that works like this, and here you go, right out the door. It's exactly how this is supposed to work. The fullback lead comes in right behind. That's Elijah Penny, and 4.37 worth of speed. They are not catching him. Runyer once again, a guy that had a little trouble playing center when he was playing that position. Some bad snaps. I think he even apologized to Josh Rosen, but he is showing up as a guard. That was a nice play.
Matthew McCrane for the extra point. And Arizona now leads it 24-0. Defensive secondary coach, and he's a little fired up after that last play.
Yeah, this has not been the kind of night that Chris Richard envisioned, although it certainly has not been much on the defense. The defense has really played well, at least in the first half. Now you're going to get some reserves in the game, and it's going to be a little different.
Can't wait to see Chris in the regular season. Matthew McCrane with a kick, and that one bounced through the end zone, and we go to Michelle again.
Well, I'm with David Johnson. TJ Logan with that big scoring run just now. Chase Edmonds has played all right. What do you think of your running backs tonight?
I've been telling everyone, man, don't sleep on our running back group. They're doing really well. They're running the ball really well physically, and you can see how fast Chase is, and you can see how fast TJ is.
Well, we can't wait to see how fast you are when you come back. You know, you injured your left wrist last year. It took you out of all 15 rest of the games. And what kind of adjustments have you had to make in order to carry the ball, catch the ball?
Nothing. I got used to wearing the brace. It feels good. I haven't made any adjustments, just playing, you know, the way I've always been playing.
Well, that's what we're hearing. 2016, quite a season for you. Led the NFL with 20 touchdowns, set a franchise record for yards from scrimmage. What makes you confident you can get back to that same place?
Really the offseason, and really actually last season with the surgery and rehabbing and stuff, and then the offseason getting my wrist back together, getting, you know, my strength up, getting back to playing football. And, you know, I think I've actually gotten a lot smarter and learned a lot more football from last year, hanging out with Carson and stuff. So I feel more confident this year.
And you're looking again for 100 yards receiving, 100 yards, or excuse me, 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000, a little bit more than that, David. Only 2 guys have done that, Marshall Faulk and Roger Craig. Again, why do you keep setting the bar so high for yourself?
I have to set high expectations, because that's what, you know, the coaches, that's what, you know, teammates expect out of me, and that's what I expect out of myself, to set the bar high. And I know I can definitely attain those goals, and, you know, keep doing what I've been doing and getting ready, and I think I definitely have a good chance of doing that.
You know, your past coach, Bruce Arians, never really liked having a fullback. You didn't have one. Now you do. How does that change things for you?
I love it, because, you know, as a fullback, you know, they know their job. Their main goal is to block for the running back, and Derek Coleman and Eli have been doing a great job. And I know we're going to be a lot more physical running the ball, and, you know, it's been really pretty cool, because I had one in college and it worked out great, and hopefully it works out great this time.
We'll see. Best of luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. David Johnson, boy, he is something special. 2,100 yards from scrimmage a couple of years ago, and from Northern Iowa, which is where Kurt Warner played his college football. There it was, 20 touchdowns.
Mr. Fantasy Football, this guy. There were people broken-hearted. He was the first fantasy player taken in so many drafts, and you just start comparing him to Barry Sanders. You know he's doing something special, but over 1,200 yards rushing, 800 receiving the same season. Only 3 other people have ever done that. Marshall Faulk, Steven Jackson, and Le'Veon Bell.
Got a false start here on the right side. Mike White is the new quarterback.
False start, number 79, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Chaz Green.
Yeah, and Chaz Green, everybody's going to remember that name well. He had one of the toughest days we've ever seen with Adrian Claiborne. Got those 4 sacks, and kind of impacted his confidence, I guess, as it would anybody. But I've been watching him out here tonight. He has been playing pretty well. They picked up Cameron Fleming on the other side, who looks like the leader in the clubhouse to be the swing tackle this season.
Second down and 10. This is Bo Scarborough. We saw some of him. Alabama, 7th round draft choice. So Mike White trying to, win the backup job. Be a long shot to do that, but does he stay on the team? Do they carry 3 quarterbacks? Picked him in the 5th round out of Western Kentucky. Had a couple of tremendous postseason games at Western KY. Seeing plenty of action here in preseason, but it becomes a case of, do you carry 2 or do you carry 3? White fires over the middle and in the green zone, and the ball is lost. And does Arizona have a 6 takeaway? They're pretty sure they do. All the red shirts so signaling. Blake Jarwin gave up the football, and who's at the bottom of the pile? A Cardinal. 6 turnovers. If you're Dallas, and 6 takeaways if you're the other guys. Rudy Ford, second-year guy out of Auburn, comes up with the ball. So Arizona has the ball again. It's been all Cardinals tonight. 24-6. Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones and John Stephen had a fairly decent career at Old Highland Park.
Yes, he did, and he was moving up in the college ranks and turning some heads there too. So we shall see.
In Arkansas, as the pass goes deep downfield, you got Charles Kanoff, or Chad Kanoff, in the game at quarterback. He played his college football at Princeton and set a lot of records which were previously held by one Jason Garrett.
Which is why he's not wearing blue and white.
Right.
Now he's going to look at the other side. He's probably enjoying getting a chance to see Chad Kanoff throw it around a bit. He may not be enjoying a whole lot of anything tonight.
Nope. To the 45 goes T.J. Logan. So let's take a look at the history of the Princeton Tigers on the gridiron. Peek at that in just a second. There it is. So you got Jason first and Chad second in completion percentage. Chad leading in passing yards, second in touchdowns, and second in total offense per game. Of course, for him to make this team would be next to impossible, but at least he gets showcased in preseason because you've already got 3 quarterbacks in Arizona.
All you're looking for is film to show whoever for next time around.
3rd and 6. Caught in the green zone, but he can't get out of that green zone as Bryce Butler makes the tackle and make it 4th down. Jordan Lewis makes the stop.
It's been interesting. I love watching the Dallas Cowboys playing this much man coverage, and you've got to say Chris Richard is making a difference. And really, we've seen a nice game out of Jordan Lewis, and here they go.
Yep, 4th and 1. They line up to go for it. No huddle. The Cowboys are there at the ready. Plenty of time on the play clock if indeed they are going to go for it. Cowboys moving around on defense. And Kanoff, I think, says enough.
False start, number 6, offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's a false start on the quarterback. A lot of head bobbing, a lot of moving around. Can't do it.
Yeah, the quarterback can be in motion as well. There you see the head bob, and they said, Clock was running down. You take a shot. Why not? There's Byron Leftwich over there doing a little coaching on the sideline as well.
Yeah. Byron, nice career with Jacksonville, quarterbacks coach, and a holdover from the Bruce Arians staff. Lee's punt bounces at the 6, and is it volleyball back? And that is Vinay Ben-Wickery, who's able to save it from going into the end zone.
I tell you, it's so nice to have veteran football players around. Al Michaels' favorite name in the National Football League, Vinay Ben-Wickery, making that play. Think of the out-of-bounds line in basketball. right? You can jump over the line as long as you leave your feet inside the line, turns around and does a little fadeaway jumper back to his teammates, and the ball is pinned down. That is beautifully done.
Sounds like a delicacy at Cafe Du Monde, doesn't it? I love that name. Benet Benwickery.
He had a nice interception last week against the Saints as well.
Yep.
I tell you have to be impressed with almost every phase of the game by the Arizona Cardinals here tonight. They have just come out and taken it to the Dallas Cowboys. And I understand offensive line's out and you don't have starting quarterback and running back, but still, this has been impressive.
This is Bo Scarborough, and he gets free for a gain of 11 yards. I mean, the Cardinals, I mean, there are a lot of mystery teams. There's Al Holcomb, who was the linebackers coach last year at Carolina when they elevated Wilkes to defensive coordinator. So he came over here. And, of course, when you're the linebackers coach there with a flag on the play, you've got Kuechly and Thomas Davis.
Number 86, offense, half the distance to the goal, repeat first down.
All right.
You know, it was interesting. I was asking Al about the tackling rule and the helmet to helmet and all. He said it won't impact us. Won't impact us. He said the way we tackle is we do vice tackling. We want two guys closing together, and we don't even put our head in front of the ball carrier. We go behind the ball carrier, wrap him up, get him on the ground, because I don't think it'll impact us.
We will find out on 1st and 9. Look out. Pass rush is taking him down, and it's Dora, who was penalized before, so he atones for that with a sack that takes him all the way back to the 1-yard line.
I tell you, we have seen Dora end up with some really good plays coming around this side over here. Steps inside the tight end, steps in outside the running back, and he is just an athlete. The more I watch him, he just looks like he is going to have the ability to go get the quarterback. He may be making the team, and he didn't get here until sometime during training camp.
2nd down and 15. Just getting out of the end zone to give them some breathing space is Bo Scarborough. And that makes it 3rd down and 14.
I tell you, the other thing that's really been impressive to me, Al, watching Arizona is the play of their secondary. I mean, they are making some plays. Buda Baker, that play in zone defense was absolutely beautiful. Patrick Peterson may end up scoring as many points as the offense if he keeps going the way he's been out here tonight. And they have 3 really good safeties on the back end with Antoine Bethea, Buda Baker, and Trey Boston. Trey Boston had 5 interceptions with the Chargers last year, but they had 5 with this team. So this is a bunch that knows how to go get the football.
And they have proven that tonight. 3rd down and 14. Screen to Darius Jackson. He'll wind up well short of the 1st down. And the Cowboys will punt from deep in their own territory.
Well, I think we have some idea of just how important Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, and Tyron Smith are, because this is not the Dallas Cowboys offense that we expect to see during the course of the regular season. And I know preseason, and we all have to tolerate it a little bit here as they go through the paces. But this, I don't think, it's going to be what the Cowboys will look like.
I think tolerate is the perfect word. Well, Logan, 43-yard line as he hauls it in and brings it back just across the 50-yard line. 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. All Arrowhead Stadium. Man, you walk into this place, as we've done a lot since 2009.
And you do that.
Yeah.
You just look up at the board and
right. Everything else that goes on. From the 47-yard line. Stumbling, and look out, and this is TJ Logan, who turns it into something from nothing. We get 2 flags on the play. So you had contact, a collision at the beginning. Carl Cheffers.
Knopf may get a helmet to helmet on his own player.
Well, you got a helmet to helmet, you got a hold, you got a lot of things going on here.
Lowered his head to initiate contact with his running back. Couldn't be.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Holding number 66. That penalty's declined. holding number 62 offense. That penalty will be accepted, 10 yards, repeat first down.
All right. And we go to Michelle.
I'm with DeMarcus Lawrence, and based on what you've seen from the defense so far tonight, what do you think you guys need to work on most?
Yes, just keep attacking. The defense let it well tonight. You know, we can be more superior, you know, come off the ball more, attack the quarterback more. Yeah, but overall, we look pretty well together.
Randy Gregory's been away for a while. What do you make of the way he played tonight?
Yes, you know, earlier in the preseason, week 2, you can tell, you know, he ain't played football in a while, but he's starting to get his legs back underneath him, and he's looking very well. I'm ready to see what we can do week 1.
14.5 sacks for you last season, by far your best season. What do you think you have to do to build on that?
Really, you know, just build on my intensity, be more fierce out there, you know, just attack the line of scrimmage more. Yeah, and just really know my defensive linemen and, you know, get better on understanding them and how they want to rush.
In addition to the defensive coaching staff, Chris Richard, what has he brought to the unit?
Yes, you know, just his attitude, you know, his relentless spirit, and, you know, how he has these DBs playing. I'm very excited, so I'm thankful to have him here.
Relentless spirit, Al. DeMarcus, thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle. Perfect way to put it. Part of that defense that, man, oh, man, they could be something very special this year.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence, that was some year that he had a season ago, second only to Chandler Jones, tied with Calais Campbell with 14.5 sacks. And there's Jalen Smith, the guy that I'm excited to see back in action. It was a horrific injury that he had to deal with nerve damage and a dropped foot, wear a special brace, and great to see him back out here again.
3rd and 14, set up a screen here. And well short of the first down is Sherfield. So they'll make it 4th down.
Now let's take a look at DeMarcus Lawrence, see just how dominant he was. There was only one guy in his category a season ago, and he wasn't a bad player. Old Clark Kent over there with the glasses, Von Miller, probably universally accepted as one of the greatest pass rushers that we've seen for a long period of time. And he was neck and neck with him, according to PFF.
Pro Football Focus. Nice kick here, out of bounds deep in Dallas territory by Andy Lee with 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. This past Wednesday, serving a team-imposed 5-week suspension for pleading guilty to extreme DUI in Arizona in July. He was also fined $200,000 by the Cards. That money was donated to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So he is back now following the suspension. Michelle, in a moment, will have a little bit more on that, as Mike White is the Dallas quarterback from the 7-yard line, and Darius Jackson is the running back. And this is Jackson trying to get around the right side for about 4. We go to Michelle.
Well, Al, in addition to the team-imposed discipline, Keim spent 2 days in jail, another 7 days under house arrest. And he told me there are no words to describe the shame he felt calling his boss and dear friend Michael Bidwell, who you see next to him. Bidwell's also the chairman of the NFL's conduct committee, and he had to call him after the arrest. Bidwell extremely disappointed, obviously. But at 12:01 a.m., the morning he was to be reinstated, Keim received a text from Bidwell saying, "Welcome back." And that, Keim told me, was one of the best feelings he ever had. And I saw Bidwell before the game. He said when he and Keim reunited, well, he's never been hugged that hard before in his life.
2nd down and 6 as Darius Jackson picks up the first down. So Steve is back, and of course a lot of decisions have to be made by general managers as we tick down to September 1st, and they have to cut down the rosters.
Yeah, and for Steve, he gave a very emotional speech afterwards, and he told the story of his son. Basically, one of his friends of his son tweeted him, said, "Hey, sorry about your dad," and his 12-year-old son wrote back, "Don't be sorry, you deserved it." And I think for Steve, that was about as much punishment as any man could ever face.
Dallas at the 19-yard line. Over the middle, the catch is made, spinning around, trying to pick up the first down, but coming up a little short is Dalton Schultz to make it 2nd down and 2.
Now there's one of the tight ends. We'll see if they can replace Jason Witten or not. Dalton Schultz, another one of those Stanford tight ends. Seems like every year they put at least 2 in the National Football League. And he's probably been a little bit better blocker during the course of his career, showed that he could make the catch there. But who will it be to replace Jason Witten? It's Jeff Swaim will probably be the starter, along with Blake Jarwin, who gives him a little down-the-field element, a former wide receiver in college. So we'll see how it goes.
Second and a deuce to the outside. Nice move there. First down. This is Mikhail McKay, first-year guy out of Cincinnati. A lot of unproven talent. Talking about the Cowboy tight ends, of course, Jason Witten retiring. Career receptions coming into the season. Swaim with 9 and everybody else with a goose egg.
And Jason Witten with about 1,100. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy. I think it's going to be, there's the jersey right there. They sold more than a couple of those around here. And you know the thing that I think is the most impressive about, we go into practice to the Star, that indoor practice facility, and they have a huge picture of Jason Witten over the entrance to the indoor practice facility. Like, if you want to do something right, do it what that guy did. And I mean, it's almost overwhelming when you come in there and see that thing. But that's how much respect the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Garrett have for that guy.
Well, everybody in our business knows that too, because he was one of the best guys to deal with for a long time.
4-3.
As we said before, good luck to Jason. He's got a pretty good gig on Monday night.
He'll do great.
Second down and 8 in the final minute of the third quarter. White is 7 for 7, and he's still perfect as that catch is now made by Anderson. So White looking pretty sharp here.
He can sling it now. He threw for over 4,000 yards the last 2 seasons at Western Kentucky. Last year was very good. 2 years ago was something like 47 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, something like that. Some ridiculous off-the-wall kind of number. He doesn't have the athleticism of some of the other quarterbacks to move around and make plays, but as far as just pure arm talent, he definitely has that.
Skycam looking right down the line. Need a yard. Got it. Darius Jackson. He'll move the sticks, and we will move to the fourth quarter. In 3, it's Arizona 24, Dallas nothing. Sunday. Heading to the fourth quarter, very happy this year to have with us Terry McAuley, who has retired as a referee, only ref 3 Super Bowls. I thought absolutely one of the best, and he is going to take all of the onus off Chris and me.
Thank God.
Thank God is right. And tell us about all of the rules and how they're interpreted, et cetera, as we start the fourth quarter. And we've got White, who throws another completed pass, this time to Rico Gathers. So, Terry, so much has been made this year about the helmet rule. We're now 3 weeks into preseason. You watched every game. Your take on what's going on?
I am thrilled to say that I think the league actually got this right on Wednesday with the new guidance. They from a officiating perspective, they told the guys, don't call incidental contact, don't call inadvertent contact. And by extension, they told them what to call. They told them to call forcible, punishing contact, using the helmet as a weapon, things that everybody agrees needs to be out of the game.
And was there a little element of time in that as well? In other words, a moment to make a decision where it's not, I'm ducking my head, you're ducking your head, and we both hit. That's not a foul, right?
Correct. Absolutely, Chris. That's a football play.
Right. And if they take that out, then we've got real issues.
Right. So here we look at a play from last week. This is 10 times out of 10 a foul. Has to be called. They want this out of the game. Lines him up, crown to face. I would even think this might have been an ejection. But this is what the league wants out of the game. Great job. They made the call. And if we can get that every time and get rid of some of the ones we've seen in the first two weeks of the preseason, I think this outrage that we've had over it will just disappear.
So we've had outrage for a lot of years over the catch rule. What's a catch? What's not a catch? Et cetera, et cetera. Now everybody's talking about the helmet rule. What about that catch rule? Catch us up with that.
Yeah, I don't think they got rid of going to the ground, which is great.
Surviving the ground.
Yeah. How, when, where you're trying to catch it. There's just one rule: control, 2 feet or another body part down, and then football move. You know, could be a third step, tucking the ball away, whatever. The going to the ground, I really don't think was a big deal, other than maybe 2 or 3 plays. Des Bryant, Jesse James, and Calvin Johnson. All right, big plays, I get it. I think what got them in a little bit more trouble last year was this concept of control. And they did tweak the wording on control as well. They went from slight ball movement doesn't mean loss of control to ball movement doesn't automatically mean loss of control. So what we're going to see, and we saw it in the Hall of Fame game, they're going to be more circumspect about whether a player has lost control or not.
Don't you think we have already seen this year, though, the officials leaving calls alone on the field that a year ago would have been overturned?
No question about it. I actually thought we saw that in the Super Bowl, but we've definitely seen it so far, and that's absolutely right, because replay is meant to correct clear and obvious errors on the field. It's not to determine what the better call might have been. I mean, the better call in our play in Hall of Fame game might have been incomplete pass, as you noted, but that's not what replay's for.
Well,
these are all overturned when they happen.
Going to the ground.
Of course,
1,
the Bryant
2, 3
steps.
catch.
Yep.
And that didn't matter. That was overturned. Jesse James, that was overturned.
Right.
And I think it shook a little bit of the foundation of people who played football our whole lives. And I thought, I don't want to get in the middle of this again, but I thought the rule evolved a little bit over the years and was a little different in the playoffs than it was in the regular season. Agree or disagree?
I absolutely agree. We thought so too, and I think it was right. At some point, they had to recognize that.
Meanwhile, let's all survive the ground. Another turnover. That's 7. We'll be back in Arlington. We have a flag down, so we're going to stay for just a second. That was Cap Cappy, I think, who it was. Cap Cappy created the turnover. One of the great names of all time. They're trying to fit him up.
Conduct, number 61 of the recovering team. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down, timeout.
He's been a preseason maven. They're just trying to fit him under the cap. Never mind. 24-0.
Takes one of the teams, and every year he beats Jason Garrett with his team. It gets embarrassing for Jason.
He's our coach. He's like Chris Richard was.
No doubt.
The turnover.
Fired up.
Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. Knopf is the quarterback. Mentioned before, we were talking to Terry. Hobbling off the field was Dustin Stanton. Check on him. Meanwhile, another flag here in what is a penalty-filled game. We've had 17 accepted infractions.
Now you get down to that point in the game where guys are tired and they're fighting to make the team, and this is their last chance, and they don't care what goes on. They'll hold, they'll grab, they'll kick, they'll do anything trying to make an impression.
To the face, number 26, defense. 5 yards will be added to the end of the play. Automatic. First down.
Stu Thomas. Noise emanating from the crowd is the old wave.
The old wave.
It's back.
That's when you know you've been sitting down too long.
Oh yeah.
But you know, it's one of the interesting things. Arizona obviously has been brilliant on defense tonight. But I'm telling you, this Dallas team, with the way they can play man coverage right now, they moved Byron Jones from safety out to cornerback. He was tremendous watching him on film. I think that's going to be great for his career.
From the 33-yard line. Sherman Beatty is the number 45 was in the game in the backfield. Fake to him over the middle, drop there by Little, and it'll be second down and 10. Well, you know, Josh Rosen, and again, he not playing tonight. Hurt his thumb the other day in practice, but he has looked really good. Man, does he have an arm. Has anybody watched UCLA football over the last 3 years knows. Threaded that one in there. So you've got the present and Mr. Bradford, and there's your future.
That was a rocket right there. How many times do you hear the quarterback that he's competing against say something about another quarterback's arm strength? Sam Bradford basically was in awe. He was saying, I can't believe some of the throws that he rips out. And that one he threw into Christian Kirk was a rocket last week.
We talked about the fact he's such a great tennis player. We asked him last night, how fast is your serve? He said about 120.
Yeah, and he said that the one thing about playing tennis was all the different arm angles and shots that you have in tennis, it really helps me throwing the football. Here we go, age 11. Remember at age 12, he was ranked #1 in Southern California and in the top 50 in the country, and got injured and took a little time away from tennis and liked it too much. Came back, decided he was going to play football.
3rd down and 9. And that's thrown nowhere. It'll be 4th down. I thought another interesting thing that Josh said to us yesterday was that he had a year of eligibility left at UCLA. And then Chip Kelly came in, and he hadn't declared for the draft yet. And he went in to meet Kelly, and he thought Kelly would do a complete sell job. And all Chip said to him was, I'm with you either way here. You know, I'll be happy if you come back, but I'm behind you 100%. You want to go to the National Football League, I'm here to support you.
And he was a huge Chip Kelly fan and almost came back because of that. He's also a Philadelphia Eagles fan,
right.
So he had a good year last year too. But he got to know Chip Kelly from watching the Eagles games, and you could tell he wanted to play for him, but it was time to move on, and I think he was probably right.
Lee with the touchback. Pat Peterson, his night is done. Hanging with the gang, 24-0. Back to lead things off. Congratulations to she and to Mike Fisher. And his carry will be having another baby.
And another song for us as well. That's going to be great. Congrats to everybody.
A flag. Mike White, well, he was perfect and will remain so, dependent on the penalty.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face, number 69, offense. 10-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Had a collision there with a couple of Cardinals. That's Arthur Moats on the ground. Got tangled up with Cap Cappy.
You know what happens is pass rushers sometimes can hurt each other. They both come around the outside, and that is not the first time that has ever happened. Arthur Moats takes the worst of that one, but that is a lot of pass rushers will actually set it up and give a signal to the guy on the other side and say, I'm going inside or I'm going low, you go high, and they work it like that for that very reason.
It's an outfield collision.
Yeah.
And we go to Michelle.
Well, with Moats there down, you know, we have Travis Frederick out tonight. Joe Looney was backing him up, and then Stanton, who was the backup center tonight, left the field with a knee injury. It's a left knee. He's being evaluated in the locker room, but he is questionable, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Of course, they all have 2 weeks to get healthy. Forget the last preseason game coming up against the Texans. But in 2 weeks, so there is Hassan Reddick. In 2 weeks, Arizona is going to take on Washington at home. #1 pick. Last year he made 3 starts, had a couple of sacks, 2.5. 13th overall pick in the 2017 draft.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a pass rusher. He was supposed to be an edge pass rusher. Really didn't end up being that. 2.5 sacks on the year. Had 17.5 at Temple, 9.5 as a senior.
Please put 11:06 on the game clock. The clock will start on the snap.
So they were really excited about him, but now they come in with this 4-3 defense, and they made him a Sam linebacker who play over the tight end a lot of times, and he will rush some, but he now has a lot more coverage responsibility. And I tell you, I think the reason he's still out there in this ball game is he's trying to learn a new position.
Played the whole game. That's Jordan Chun as the running back. Minimal gain.
Take a look at Hassan Reddick and what he's been able to do so far. So much of it about when you're playing that off-the-ball linebacker is being able to read the triangle in front of you, those 3 offensive linemen, and anticipate where that ball carrier is going to go. You want to run the same place. If there's a hole, you want to run in the hole. But in this defense, it is a 4-3, 1 gap, so he has 1 gap. He has to find that one gap, get in there, and trust his other teammates will do the same.
White is now 11 for 11. And that's Jordan Chun. Been around free agent, played his college ball at Troy in Alabama to make it 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick did a little bit of this in college, drop into coverage, but not a ton. For the most part, he was a pass rusher, so this is a new learned skill, reading those quarterbacks' eyes. They allow those drop-offs underneath and come up and make the play. And so, as good as the Arizona defense has been over the past several years, they're all learning a little something new, but it seems to fit this bunch pretty well.
3rd and 13, you see the green zone as the overlay and the passes drop by Darius Jackson. So it'll be 4th down with 9:43 to go in the 4th, and Arizona leading 24-zip.
I think Jason Garrett had some idea what his night might be like tonight, but I think the poor performance on special teams, the giving up the turnovers there is not going to sit well. Giving up a big run. There's some things still to work on, but it's impossible to know what the Cowboys are going to be like based on the guys that were playing in the game tonight.
Correct the window. Fielded on a hop at the 35-yard line by Ty Logan. And down he goes at the 45-yard line. 9.5 to go in Arlington. Right, it's Chase Daniel, his backup quarterback.
Nothing better than pimping the starting quarterback.
Beautiful.
And Chase Daniels went on and played pretty incredibly.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
He did. Beatty with a gain of 1 to Michelle again.
Speaking of playing incredibly, Patrick Peterson tonight with a forced fumble and a pick 6. What were you expecting out of this defense tonight?
To pick up where we left off last week. Just continue making plays on the ball, continue to create havoc for the offense. And that's what we've been doing over the last couple games. I believe now we're plus 15 in the turnover battle. And you just want to keep that going over into the season.
You know, speaking of turnovers, a lot of people think of the cornerback position, they think interceptions, and that's the metric to measure you by. You only had 1 last year, so what do fans overlook?
You just saw. That's why quarterbacks don't throw my way. It's an opportunity for a pick 6. A big play is liable to happen if they try 21. So that's the reason why I'm the least targeted corner in the league.
You know, your new coach, Steve Wilkes, is a defensive-minded guy. Where do you see new opportunities for you in this scheme?
You know, having an opportunity to play with my eyes now, having an opportunity to read, you know, through the quarterback, you know, reading route, having the opportunity to have a beat on route recognitions now. Not playing with my back towards the quarterback anymore. So now I have more opportunities to make plays on the ball, as you guys can see. So, you know, he's bringing that same aggressive style here at Arizona, but now we're not playing with our back against the ball, against the quarterback anymore.
7 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls, all before the age of 28. How do you even build on that?
I just want to find a way to continue getting better. My teammates know me. I work my butt off each and every day in practice like it's my rookie year. You know, I want to find a way to continue to stat my to continue to get better each and every year, and also get to bring the best out of my players.
Well, and now in practice, you've seen both of your quarterbacks.
Yep.
What have you seen from Sam Bradford?
Sam is always, it just seems like he's always in control, has a very good grasp of the offense. And if we can keep Sam healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league as far as accuracy, as far as, you know, getting the ball in the end zone, getting the ball to the guys he needs to get the ball to. So, you know, if we can keep him healthy, the offensive line stay healthy, as a team we can stay healthy, I think we can make some noise.
And how has Josh Rosen looked?
Oh, man, Josh Rosen has been nothing but amazing for us so far. You know, I make this comment all the time. I remember him being drafted, and the week after he got here, they put him right in with the ones. He's running hurry-up offense, you know, running 2-minute offense. I was very surprised the way he orchestrated the offense each and every day, only been in the building for 2 weeks. So he's definitely the future for us, and we can't wait to see him. I think it's going to be some time before he play, but you never know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the division. The Rams coming off a terrific season. Jimmy Garoppolo off to the hot start in San Francisco, and then you've always got Russell Wilson up in Seattle. Where do you guys fit into this thing?
You know, obviously our ultimate goal is to win the division. You know, obviously a lot of people not giving us, you know, overlooking us right now. I believe having us finish like 4-12 or something crazy like that. But all we do is believe in one another in that team meeting room each and every day.
come to work every day, respect the process, just continue stacking chips to see where they fall at the end of the year.
Thanks a lot for the time, Patrick. Good luck.
Thank you.
Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. Always a lot of fun to watch him play. Boy, he is
great
some
guy.
player.
Between that guy right there and Larry Fitzgerald, they're like UN ambassadors when you come into that organization. You just love getting a chance to sit around and talk with them.
Second down and 6. White throws, and that is caught up at the 30-yard line by Anderson. White is 12 out of 13.
Just another ho-hum night tonight for Patrick Peterson. There's his eyes back to the quarterback as he moonwalks into the end zone for a touchdown. Then he's going to create this turnover. Once again, just took over the first half of that game, and loving life on the sideline. He is some leader on that defense. 4 targets per game, and he matches up against the best receivers, and they still only challenge him 4 times a game, despite the fact those best receivers are against him. Here we go.
To Witt.
Take a look. 4 targets per game. I knew I read it somewhere this week. And the coverage snaps per target, 9.9, most in the NFL. And once again, 21.2 coverage snaps per catch allowed, most in the NFL. So this is a guy that he just puts up the stoplight. Teams have learned that unless you want to see the ball going the other way, go away.
Those look like Richard Sherman's numbers in his prime. 2nd and 10. Look out. And this time they avoid the turnover. That's Dora who got in there again and extracted the ball, but recovered by the Cowboys. Already 7 turnovers for Dallas tonight.
Yeah, Dora recovered a couple of fumbles against the Saints, and now he's creating some fumbles here on the outside. Coming right around the edge here. Working against Chaz Green over there, who continues to struggle. At least he got on that football.
So 3rd down and 19 from the 21-yard line. Wide now. See the whole green zone. Have to get to the 40-yard line and probably even more.
False start. Number 75, offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
3rd and 24. That's Cameron Fleming.
Green zone just got expanded.
Yeah.
I don't know how far can we take the green zone. Can we?
99 and a half.
99 and a half. All right. There we go. Pretty soon we're just going to have nothing but green zone on the screen.
As Don Meredith once said, 99 yards and a half. 3rd and 24. Dancing around, buying a lot of time, and that is another takeaway. 8. Travell Dixon.
Uh-oh, get the camera out. Here we go.
Man.
Sometimes when you get a hand in your face late, there's going to be some pressure inside. Get a hand up late, and he has to sort of throw over the top of that. And the ball just sailed. And it's one of the fun things about playing safety. I used to play a little of that myself. You get 2 or 3 of those a year that just fall into your lap. And that's also a benefit of playing zone defenses. Those overthrows tend to go the other way.
So the Cardinals now have 16 takeaways in 3 preseason games. This is Sherman Beatty, played his college ball at Tulane. Justin Marsh Lillard makes the tackle there, and we have 5 minutes to go in the game.
Justin March Lillard's done a nice job tonight. He's made a few plays, and this is go time. I mean, people know who's on the bubble, right? They even do it in the newspaper now. They seem like every town I go to, they have, all right, this guy's made the team, these guys are on the bubble, and these guys definitely not. So they know a little bit of who it is, and they are playing their tails off tonight.
Ronald Skycan from behind the offense. Beatty picks up a couple. 3rd down. So the Cardinals are going to go home, play a 4th preseason game, and get ready to host the Washington Redskins. 3 of their first 4 games are in Arizona. The second one will be a tough one at Los Angeles against the Rams, who would be considered the division favorites. And for the Cowboys, opening day is at Carolina against the defense will face Cam Newton. And then back here for a Sunday night game, week 2 against the New York Giants.
Tell you, Al, I think this rookie class of quarterbacks, though, they have a chance to be something special together.
You got 4 quarterbacks going in the first 10 rounds, and that is caught close to a first down by Andrew Vollert. And it will be a first down to Michelle.
Well, I'm with Sean Lee, and you know, we've been talking a lot about Chris Richard being the big addition to this defensive staff. What do you see that he's brought to this team?
It brings an unbelievable amount of intensity, extremely smart, can teach any type of technique. I mean, he's a guy who's had a ton of success, and to be able to learn from him has been incredible.
You know, 2 seasons ago, you missed just 1 game. Last season, you missed 5, and the team goes 1-4 in those games, and you missed the playoffs. What is it going to take for you to have an injury-free season, do you think?
You know, the trainers have a great plan, and we're working on it right now. And for me, it's just staying on that plan, working to stay healthy. It's frustrating being out. You feel like you're letting the team down. But, you know, all the work I put in the offseason, I feel great, I feel healthy, and I'm ready to do it this year.
Jalen Smith is another one who was coming off of a devastating knee injury. He's got a season under his belt now. What are you seeing from him?
Oh, he's been incredible, and what he was able to do last year was historic. I mean, to play with that injury and play as well as he did was great. He's taking that next step in his career. He's had an unbelievable offseason, looks great in the preseason, and for us, he's a guy we're really looking to.
Speaking of looking to guys, leadership. Jason Witten leaves. He was the undisputed leader of this team. So now it falls to DAC. What are you seeing from him that shows you he's ready for that?
You know, he's only been with his 3rd year. As soon as he walked in, he was that type of leader. It feels like he's been here for a long time. He has a natural leadership ability. He puts an incredible amount of work in, and he has that, you know, stuff that guys look to, and he's showing it right now and doing an incredible job.
Well, we're going to be back with you guys in a few weeks. All the best to you. We'll see you then.
Thanks a lot. Great seeing you.
Wise Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Here's some good news for you. 2-minute warning. 24-0 Arizona. On defense, Terrence Newman, Minnesota's 40. Julius Peppers now back with Carolina, 39. Adam Vinatieri, oldest player in the league at 45. And Phil Dawson of these Arizona Cardinals, 43 years old. So he's set for the 99th season. And that pass is incomplete. To make it 4th down and 15 with 1:56 remaining in the game. And there is Mr. Dawson. He's won the job. There's no question about that. Andy, he's in his 20th year, and Andy Lee, the punter's in his 15th.
Andy Lee had a big part of winning this game tonight. He crushed a couple of punts. One of them they got a touchdown on.
Well, here's Matthew McCrane. He's a rookie. He's not going to make the team, but he can showcase something right here.
He has a big leg.
Yeah, he has. This is a 54-yard attempt. And McCrane splits the uprights. So it's the kind of thing that, you know, the team is looking for a guy. Free agent, Kansas State. May have won a job somewhere.
I'll tell you what, he drilled this one. This is a young leg. Phil Dawson's going. Even when I was 22, I couldn't do that. He drilled that thing. That was 64. That one probably good. Look how high that thing crossed the crossbar. Holy smokes. That'll get their attention if anybody's watching.
And dead center. I'm sure some scouts are watching.
Oh, yeah. But I tell you what, not many times does it come down to that, but a whole bunch of times games come down to those 43-yard field goals as time expires, and then who do you want kicking? You want the Vinatieris, you want some of the veterans like Phil Dawson in that situation. Yeah, I'll make those. He made a bunch last year, missed a few too. He missed 8, which was a career high, and made 32, which was also a career high.
You know, the Cowboys have a great kicker, obviously, Dan Bailey, but he doesn't even have to shower after the game tonight because Dallas has not even remotely sniffed the end zone. So a week from Thursday, be with us. It all starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We open up the season with Atlanta going into Philadelphia. So, you know, a lot of things to think about in regard to that game. And one of them, of course, is going to be what one of the big stories was in the offseason. who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles? Will Wentz be ready? Boy, I tell you, when Foles got hurt in that New England game a couple of weeks, I thought that was serious, but he's already back.
Yeah, he was back, but he wasn't that effective in that next game. So you just wonder how healthy he was in the game. And so I don't know. What would you do? I mean, obviously we don't know the exact status of Carson Wentz, but here's your franchise for the next 15 years possibly. Are you sending him out there for opening day?
Well, Cappy gets hurt on that play. You know, the one thing that's happening in Philadelphia, obviously, that Wentz hasn't been cleared for contact yet, and you've lost the opportunity to let Wentz fully heal if Foles isn't ready. But, you know, as you say, Foles, you know, got hurt, did come back, even though he wasn't very effective.
Yeah, and we saw Wentz a little bit during the broadcast the other night, moving around, and he looked pretty good. But that's a far cry from playing in a game and trusting your knee. We've seen people come back from knee injuries, and it's hard to stand in that pocket and step into your throws. And the minute somebody starts falling around your knees, right, you spent 9 months in rehab, you're going to have some reaction to that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's never going to be an easy process. There's no way to make it an easy process. So it's a really tough decision, I think, for Doug Peterson and that entire organization.
We're going to find out a week from Thursday night. Well, we know Matt Ryan ready to lead Atlanta. Pressure put on here, and White's going to be taken down, and that's Dora. Boy, I tell you, he's really Montarius Dora out of Louisiana Tech. It's his third team in 3 years, and he may have found a home.
Well, and Chaz Green, it's going a little bit the other way.
And White fires, and that will be taken in by Rico Gathers. This is a guy, a basketball player who had very little football experience, trying to make the team out of Baylor.
Didn't play high school or college, but he has made some unbelievable catches. People think because he was a basketball player, he's Antonio Gates and all these routes and all the different things he can do. He is not that athletic of a route runner, and he has blown a lot of blocking assignments, which makes this coaching staff very nervous. But he's a fan favorite, and one of the reasons is he makes some catches that are off the charts, going up over defense. It looks like a rebounder playing tight end, and so that's going to be a tough decision.
The bottom line is he's one of those bubble guys right now.
And one of those bubble guys.
So 4th down and 2. Through the short green zone they go for 46 seconds. Low snap. White is hanging in. Fires on the money. Oh, he's looked good tonight. Caught there by Anderson. That's Flipper Anderson's son.
Really?
But yeah, it is. Makes the catch.
I'll tell you what, I saw the arm talent that they've been talking about with Mike White on that one. Looked a little like Josh Rosen last week. He got over the top of this thing and just babied it right in there.
So Dallas takes a timeout.
I don't think Hassan Reddick could believe it. He was in perfect position, and White just drilled it right past him.
White 16 out of 19.
Now what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? I mean, you know,
It's a tough one.
You got Cooper Rush. Do you keep 3 quarterbacks?
You know,
Do you keep? I mean, they drafted him. And do you expose him though by releasing him?
I'm not releasing that young man. I've seen enough already tonight. The NFL is about throwing from the pocket. And there's all kinds of different ways to win in the game of football. But when somebody has the ability to stand in the middle of the field, that's a lot of field. What, 53 1/3 yards wide and maybe 60 yards down the field. And so if you can make throws to all those different areas, it is tough to defend.
This is his 21st attempt of the night. Throws underneath to the 27-yard line goes Trey Williams. And the Cowboys will take another timeout with 28 seconds. They're trying to get something on the boards. Anything but a 0.
Yeah, I don't blame him. And you're in heavy evaluation at this point because we're seeing Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett. They're thinking what we're thinking. You know, are we seeing enough out of Mike White? Do we want to, obviously we want to put him on the practice squad, but if you take a chance and release him and try and put him there, anybody can take him. So now let's see what he can do. Can he take him on in the rest of the way here in 28 seconds and put something on the board? They want to see more.
3rd and 5.
I'd be surprised at all if they didn't throw it to Rico Gathers to see what he had at this point too.
Over the middle, juggled, and that's incomplete.
There's Rico. He tried. I mean, that wasn't a bad throw. That's just that seam throw a little bit behind, and I'm not so sure that he wasn't trying to back shoulder that ball to put him in a little better position, and Gathers just didn't look quite soon enough. That really was, I would have to put that in the category, that was a darn good throw. Tight ends have to make that catch in traffic. Now they're going to evaluate the kicker.
Yeah, this is Brett Maher. Now he's not going to make the team, but again, as was the case with the other kicker, McCrane. Little addition here, 45-yard field goal. And the Dallas Cowboys get off the schneid.
Uh-oh, what do you call that cheer?
You call that, well, you call that whatever the crowd number is right now. It was, well, a Bronx cheer.
A mini Bronx cheer, right?
Very minimal.
Mini Bronx cheer.
We've shown you every package we have tonight except this one. Network analysts. Michelle, by the way, stand by. There you got Troy Aikman at Fox, many years. Tony Romo did a tremendous job in his rookie season. Monday night, you got Jason Witten making his debut, and then
oh my,
Michelle, what is that song you sing to your daughter now? Which
one of these things is not like the others? One of these things just doesn't belong. Wasn't that from Sesame Street or something?
That's where we all belong, right there. They lead in money earned, and I lead in laugh lines.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Well, we throw a charity ball for you.
Audrey, I need more makeup.
That's right.
Start doing that. Come on. Three good-looking guys.
Man, oh man. Dallas Cowboys. I tell you what. I see where DeMarco Murray is going to, I think, work college football for Fox. Get another Cowboy. DeMarco just retiring. So one more kneel down should end this one, which will go into the books. Or should be booked.
Dano.
Right. Ezekiel Elliott. There he is. They said he wasn't going to play in preseason. He hasn't. And we will now see him on opening day against the Carolina Panthers. But quite a difference from last year when it was all about, you know, was he going to get suspended? If so, when? And it turned out to be 6 games after the middle of the year.
You know, we saw that shot of Sean Lee right there too. When Sean Lee plays for this football team a season ago, they were #1 in yards per play allowed, which is the best of all parameters. He has a tremendous impact, as did that guy right there. I could not be more impressed with what Steve Wilks has done with the Arizona Cardinals this preseason.
Well, Wilks is 3-0 in preseason. His team has taken the ball away 16 times in 3 games. Garrett's team, meanwhile, is 0-3, and that's going to wrap it up from here. The final score was 27-3, except on the West Coast. Your local news coming up next. So Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, our entire crew, Fred Godelli and Drew Essicott, manning the buttons and the replays and all the rest, saying good night from Arlington, Texas. We'll see you a week from Thursday from Philadelphia.